What's up, YouTubers? John60491 here with another Battlefield 3 gameplay and commentary for you guys. Today I'm going to be talking about my top 5 wish list for what I would like to see changed or implemented into Battlefield 4, starting off with number 1 being the return of Onslaught mode from Bad Company 2, or the introduction of a similar AI-based game mode that can teach newcomers to the franchise the basics of multiplayer without them being in the frustrating setting of just getting owned by more experienced players who know exactly what they're doing. I really don't know why something like this wasn't in Battlefield 3, especially considering the fact that they were clearly campaigning against another really popular FPS title out there to try and gain some new gamers from their audience. And seeing as how they're trying to do the same thing with Battlefield 4, I would really like to see a game mode like this implemented into the game. Something along the lines of the player being able to squad up with 3 of their friends, hopping into one of the multiplayer maps and learning the absolute basics of the game. How to operate ground vehicles like jeeps, tanks, LAVs, how to fly the aerial vehicles like jets and attack helos, and then how to gun people down with them after you learn how to fly them. They need to show you how to move within a squad, how to communicate with the squad. You need to be able to understand the different kits and their different weapons and their different equipment, how different attachments affects your gun. You need to be able to understand all of the basics in some sort of AI-based non-competitive atmosphere before you actually hop on to the online competitive multiplayer, because if not, you're just gonna hop in and get your ass kicked, especially, like I said, since clearly Battlefield 4 is once again campaigning against other popular FPS titles out there to try and bring those audience of gamers in. They need to have something where they can teach these newcomers how to play the game without just getting their ass handed to them. So one thing I would really like to see is some sort of tutorial multiplayer mode, like an Onslaught or something like that in Battlefield 4. So the second thing that I would like to see in Battlefield 4 is actually 2 points that I've wrapped into one, and that is both a dynamic weather system and a variation of time of day or night on maps. And what I mean by that is I'll go ahead and get into like the time of day one first. Imagine a map in Battlefield 3 like Tehran Highway during the day. That would be a completely different experience. Or a map like Operation Firestorm at night, where everything that's outside is dark and the only places of the map that have lights or that are illuminated are the actual buildings on the map. That would be crazy. It would completely change up the map. And I think it would be such an easy thing for DICE to do with Battlefield 4, for them just to pretty much make, if not all maps, most maps both have a daytime and a nighttime setting. I think that would be absolutely brilliant and would just add so much more to the game. And I would really love to see that. So the next part of this point is the dynamic weather, and what I mean by this is imagine if you were on a map like an aircraft carrier or any sort of ship map where you're out at sea. Imagine kind of like they did in the Aftermath DLC, how there were earthquakes and it would shake your screen. Imagine if you were on a boat and you were getting hit by waves and it was kind of thrashing your character back and forth. It was making your character stumble and wobble as they moved to and fro, and it was just making your screen sway back and forth and shake. Getting hit with swells like that, having ocean spray or mist hit your screen, or rain hit your screen and kind of obscure your vision, moving around on maps like this would be really cool with dynamic weather, especially if, for instance, now imagine this, completely different scenario. You're on a desert map and there's a sandstorm, and depending on which way the wind is blowing, it will affect which way you have to lead or follow your target when you're shooting at them, and there could be visual cues like some sort of cloth fabric, like a flag blowing in the wind, or you could just see dust or debris blowing across your screen whenever the wind started to take an effect, and it would show you exactly which way the wind was blowing. It would be really cool if there was dynamic weather events like this that actually affected the gameplay. And I know that kind of comes down to what the engine is capable of, Frostbite 3 or 2.5, whatever you want to call it. But it's still something that I would really like to see incorporated into Battlefield 4, as well as my next point, which is the addition of all kit equipment. For instance, if they were actually to add in night maps, it would be really cool if all kits could have like night vision goggles or infrared goggles or like night vision binoculars. That would perhaps, if you were an assault, they would replace your med kit, or if you were a support, they would replace your C4. It would be really cool if they had all kit equipment like that. But as well, I would really like to see more diversity amongst the weapons between the different kits and the classes, because I can't tell you how many times I've seen people in Battlefield 3 that are clearly gravitating towards a kit or a setup because they like the weapon, and not because, for instance, they would just want to run around with an M16. They don't actually want to res people or heal people. They just want to use an M16. Or they just want to lay down with a bipod and an M249, and they don't even care about resupplying you or throwing C4 or claymores down. I can't tell you how many times in Battlefield 3 I've seen players that have clearly gravitated towards a kit because of a specific weapon, and I would like to see more diversity amongst the weapons in Battlefield 4, along with all kit equipment. So the next thing I would like to see in Battlefield 4 is for DICE to actually fix the issues that are still present in Battlefield 3, especially the ones that have been a problem since the beta, like broken vaulting. When I'm playing Battlefield 4, without fail, I want my soldier to be able to vault over a tiny little barrier or a tiny little ledge in front of him. If I sneak up behind a guy and I go to knife him, I need it to work first try so I can either pull my weapon out and start shooting his squad mates or get the hell out of there. None of this bullshit where you pull your knife out and just stare at the guy like a dunce cap because you can't get the animation to start. They need to fix the delayed bullet registry and their completely off hit detection where you're getting shot around corners or you duck behind a cover and you end up getting shot in the head. They need to fix the spotting so that it works when it's supposed to, like when there's a jet flying by you or a helicopter and you're clearly staring at it, spamming the spot button and nothing's happening, and so that it doesn't work when it's not supposed to, like when you're spotting people that you clearly can't visibly see, like through smoke or that are through bushes or whatever. And please, for the love of God, fix suppression. I don't want them to remove it from the game entirely. I actually like suppression for the most part in Battlefield 3. The only effect of it that I don't like is the magic bullet deviation where your bullets aren't actually going where you're aiming the gun. If they just remove that aspect of suppression and leave the rest of it the same, I would be perfectly fine with it in Battlefield 4. Number 5 on the wish list is something that I know a lot of people would like to see in Battlefield 4, and that is a battle recorder. I would really like to see DICE implement something like this into the game, especially seeing as how Battlefield has gained such a big YouTube community since Battlefield 3, and it would only grow and get so much better in Battlefield 4 with a battle recorder, allowing gamers and YouTubers to capture so much more cool stuff with their gameplay. So to summarize my top 5 wish list for what I would like to see in Battlefield 4, number 1, the return of Onslaught mode or a similar multiplayer tutorial game mode for newcomers to the series. Number 2, dynamic weather and variable times of day and night on most, if not all maps in the game. Number 3, more diversity amongst the weapons between the different kits and all kit equipment such as Binocs and NVGs. Number 4, fix the issues that are still present in Battlefield 3 such as broken vaulting and knife mechanics, delayed bullet registry and hit detection, and for the love of God, fix suppression. And number 5, everyone wants this. If DICE doesn't put it in, it's a huge mistake on their part, and that is the battle recorder. So the last thing that I'm going to mention about what I would like to see in Battlefield 4 is more of an asterisk on my wish list because it doesn't actually come down to the development of the game, and that would be a better community overall that's more willing to use teamwork and help other players out. It's really frustrating when you're playing Battlefield 3 and you see dead teammates on the ground and then you see friendly assaults just run over their bodies without a care in the world, or you're completely out of ammo, you find a support, you chase him down, and then you just sit there begging him to throw down an ammo kit for 5 minutes and he doesn't do it. Or you're playing a rush, you're the attackers, and half your team is on a crane or on a roof that they're not supposed to be able to get up to, and they're all sniping. I really hate when this kind of stuff happens in Battlefield 3, and I don't understand why it happens, seeing as this is such a team-based, oriented-driven game. I don't understand why the community is the way it is. I would just really like to see an overall upheaval and better change in the community for Battlefield 4. If you're still here, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, go ahead and leave a comment. If you'd like to see more from this channel, more content from me, go ahead and make sure to hit that subscribe button. All the support really helps. Thanks a lot, guys, and peace!
There's your first aid kit. Pick it up.